Hey, welcome to Unshaved. I'm Takesha, and this podcast came to be simply because I wanted to archive conversations between me and my mother. And because we talked about pursuing a creative project together for a long time now, I just figured starting a podcast would kind of fit the bill for both. Our lives and relationship have had many twists, turns, highs, and lows, and the way we've gotten through them always started with raw conversations. We're consistently pursuing a deeper understanding of not only each other and our relationship, but also of ourselves. If the topics and conversations explored in this space help you to navigate your journey in any way, then that's even better. So whether it's just myself or if I'm joined by my mom or other guests, you can expect content that is explorative, honest, and maybe even just a little bit outside the lines. Thank you so much for coming back to join my mother and I in this final half of our Being Heard conversation. I just want to first thank each and every one of you who liked, shared, subscribed, followed, and even started supporting the page financially. All of the outpouring of love and encouragement, those of you who feel this podcast can even benefit relationships in your life, I just want you all to know that it means so much to me on a very deep level. I appreciate this exchange. This is very new to me, and I'm a pretty private person, but feeling all of your support in this space, it feels safe, and it makes it feel that much more sacred. So now to the show. We begin discussing the challenges of knowing when and how to make decisions based on our instinct or gut feelings, to the struggle of overthinking our moves. We found ourselves actually evaluating whether my mom communicated just a little too much to me on a more delicate topic, and if possibly the things that were shared were done so without enough discernment or contemplation of the possible impact it could have. You'll hear how we navigate parts of this conversation to ensure that we hear each other the way we intend to be heard.
Who she is. She does know some things about herself. I need to listen to her tell me who she is. I need to trust that. And from that point on, that's what I've been pretty much doing, sweetie.
That's amazing that you had the foresight to do that.
And a lot of times I don't know where it came from. Seriously, I mean, it just came, and I went with it. You know, thank God I didn't question it, or, you know, I don't know how it would have turned out then. I just went with it. And today I know that's that gut, that inside
instinct,
exactly.
Intuition,
that today I know when I don't pay attention to that, something doesn't go right. And because you know something, you're right. Society has us not trusting that from the beginning. You know, we're not supposed to, I don't want to get tongue-tied right here, right now, but I am. Don't trust your gut. Don't trust your instinct. Go to your head. Think about it. Process it. Analyze it. And then you got the answer. No. You know, I learned to just navigate from my heart and from my instincts, you know?
Yeah, I feel you, you know, and I am, I think, predisposed to being analytical in the sense that if you talk about my natal chart, like me being a Virgo, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I remember people were like, "Oh, you are analytical." That was one of the very most like popular description people would give to
so
me.
True,
like,
though.
Yeah, but in that, and it's frustrating. Like, I think that people would think that I just want to analyze something.
You just can't help it.
This is actually just the way my mind works. I don't have a choice here. You know what I mean? So, like what you're talking about, going with the instinct, it takes work. It takes work, like, to really, you know, balance that, you know, analytical side, because I think there's some things you do need to think about.
You're right. You're right. Some things you do. And that's what I'm doing a lot more that I didn't used to do. I didn't think about stuff. I didn't. I can say honestly, for last 12 years, that's when I've been using my brain. I've just been instinctive. You know what I'm saying? And if it felt right, do it. You know. And so it's taken me a minute, and sometimes it's challenging. Mm-hmm. You know, thinking, is this the right decision? You know, oh my goodness, right. You know, because I'm so not used to going to my head. Mm-hmm. I didn't operate like that. I'm operating on a total new vibration today, you know. So, and sometimes it's very well, it's challenging. It can be very challenging for me. I'm not used to analyzing and thinking about it and, you know, putting it down for a minute, sitting with it. You know, that's new for me.
And that's interesting because we are, you know, we're so close and, you know, we have such compatibility in the way that we, you know, communicate, you know, our vibe, like our genuine vibe. But the way we do things,
night and day,
you know, and it's like sometimes we're like, oh, is that your mother? You know what I mean? Oh, that's your daughter? You know what I mean? Like people wouldn't really think that, like just from the outside looking in, and we always know that you can't judge a book by its cover. Exactly. Right? You're gonna have to open that thing up, take in a few pages at least.
Exactly.
Get an idea, at least look at the summary. You know, but you know, but I think that our differences, you know, so, you know, I've heard people say that, you know, since I've become a parent, I understand my parent. You know what I mean? However, I am not a parent, but I have grown to understand you in such a way. And this is because, and I know that, you know, I think some people have a sense of like, well, I'll cross that bridge when I get there, right? Like when you became a parent, it wasn't that it was your intention to become a parent, right? You weren't like trying to think of the best way to raise a child out here. You kind of tackled it as you faced it.
Yes.
And that is, you know, that happens. And I don't think that it's wrong either to decide or start working on what it is you want to invest in parenthood. You know, when you think about like relationships and stuff like that, people will ask you to think about what you want from it, what you want to do, what is the purpose of it. But I think that sometimes people don't put enough idea and thought into how you would want to move into parenthood. But nonetheless, I digress. So what I'm saying is that when I think about you, and I've told you this recently, you may recall, when I thought about you recently, I tried to think about you, and I think it was because you asked me a question. You text me at some odd hour or called me. I think you woke me up out of my sleep, and you wanted to know what you asked me something like, what is the thing you would remember most about me? Yeah. And I was like, Mom, I'm sleeping. And I'll think about it and call you back. So I was planning to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. You rattled me a little bit with that. I'm going to be honest. I was like, what kind of question? I was like, damn. Okay, so what would I remember most? I thought about it again earlier, and I think I had the same answer. But my point was, what was coming to my mind, I was thinking about how much you love me, how much we vibe, and, you know, all the things that I feel like you've imparted me. But the question was, what will I remember about you? It wasn't necessarily in relationship to me. And I wanted to separate myself from that answer and just think about you as a person. And I believe I said your resilience.
Yes.
Okay? And then it caused me to think even deeper. And I was like, excuse me, what is it about my mom? You know, like outside of her being my mother and relationship to me, I was thinking about you as if you weren't my mother. And this is the first time I really, you know, aside from when I was younger, and when I wanted to think about my independence, like I'm not my mother, I'm not my father, I'm me. You know, my life doesn't have to look like their life, this, that, and the other. I had never really try to see you outside of your relationship to me.
Okay.
And I became emotional, I guess, and I'm getting more emotional as I get older, right?
Yeah.
It's at the drop of the dime almost. So I thought about all your ways, all of your strengths, and the beauty about you that has nothing to do with me. And I was like, man, I'm proud that she's my mom. Mom, we've been through a lot, but through everything, we've been able to talk it out.
That's why communication is important.
And I appreciate that so much. I really, really do. And, and what you did was you helped to develop a skill within me that I think has been crucial for me. It really has, and it's important. And if I am ever a parent, I definitely would now want to make sure that we have the same level of communication and openness. It's important in development, because talking to you, sharing things with you, a lot of things in life weren't necessarily a surprise. Some things were tough, some things were an adjustment, some things I had to learn and go through. But talking with you about it honestly, I knew that I could get through it.
Wow. Thank you. You say you've never been a parent. Technically, I'd say you're right. You've never been a parent. But in so many other ways, you have. You have been my parent for a long time, Keisha. And I was so happy years ago when I was able to come to you and release that from you, that you no longer had to be my parent. It was time for me to really do some real parenting. Because, I understand the only thing I'm really proud of is that I did incorporate communication at a young and early age. And I think that's how we survived all of our trials and tribulations, because we were able to communicate. But
I agree.
Beyond that, I don't think I did very much. Up until recently, like the last 12 years or so, is when I think I've actually been real conscious and mindful of being a good parent, or trying to be, because I thought at one point, she's grown, it's too late. Nah, I think we always need our parents,
As long as we have them, we need them.
Exactly, and believe it or not, I still need my mom and my dad, and they're not here. I'm thankful for the time that I did have them, though. But yeah. So getting back to you being a parent, you've been a parent. You have a very good concept of being a parent, and then the kids that you've had in your life, like your niece slash goddaughter. Yes, yes. And you've been a parent to your cousins. Yes, yes.
I don't know if parent is fair though, but I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? I do. I mean, because like you said, even my goddaughter, she's like, you should be a mommy. And I was like, really? I was like, well, we'll see. But nonetheless, um, I know that a lot of who I am not, is based on who you've been and how you've helped me to grow.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Yes. You are my rock. You've always been my rock. Because it's always been so important to me, and you said it earlier. What it means to you. You know, it was always important what it meant to you. And when you said something to me, I listened, and I wanted to walk in that light. Because although I have many a times, you know, I never wanted to disappoint you.
No.
I didn't. You know, I know I have, but hey, it's about what's happening right now.
Yeah, you know, you keep wanting to segue into some other stuff, and that's cool. But it's like, and I'm fine with segueing into whatever. It's just that you said a lot, and I'm trying to disappointment. You know, disappointment is an interesting thing, and it also goes hand in hand with the expectations. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I had an expectation of you as a child, and you did not necessarily meet that expectation.
Exactly.
Okay, but as I have grown into the woman that I am, you know, looking back on my life, my experiences, how I've been shaped as an individual, all of those things were very, very necessary. And I wouldn't go back and change them, you know, because ultimately you are in a place that I've always desired for you to be. I always knew you could be, and that makes me very happy. And on the same note, I like who I am today. And I know that my experiences have been key in the development and the ways in which I've grown. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, I remember wanting a different mother at times, you know?
Yes.
There were times I wanted a different mother. And sometimes we can, you know, have what we want and think that we need it and we don't. And we can have what we need and think that we don't want it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I said that wrong, but it doesn't matter. The
because
point
I
is,
get it.
You were what I needed. And you are now absolutely everything that I want and what I would want to be as a mother.
Oh, thank you.
And that's real. I'm not blowing smoke. I have no reason to.
I know you better than that. Blowing smoke is not something Takesha does.
Man. So, yeah, there are disappointments. And I feel like there are a couple of times you might have been disappointed by something I've done too.
No, I think it was more so I was disappointed in the way I handled it, or maybe I could have did something that you never even reached that action. But you know what came to my mind, and I just thinking back, reflecting back, which we all do. I had shared something with you, and I was like, should I have told her that? Because like I know most parents would not dare tell their children this.
I think I thought about this earlier today. I'm gonna let you finish but I think I'm like 90%.
You probably
sure.
are. When it was when I first learned I was pregnant.
Yes, I thought about this today. Oh my gosh.
Know, and
I'm glad we're going here, honestly, because I was thinking about this.
I wasn't ready. I think I wanted to be a parent, but I didn't want it to come like that. I didn't want to be the one carrying the child, and plus I knew I wasn't ready when and then when I found out I was pregnant, I was 5 months. I didn't know I was 5 months. All I know is I missed a period. So I went to try to get an abortion. The doctors was like, No. How can you not know you're 5 months pregnant? I don't know. Come on. And I went to Mom. She wouldn't give me the money to go, more money to go to New York, because that's where they did abortions for women over 5 months. And at some point in your life, I told you
it was
that.
very early in my life.
I told you that. And since then, I have said, is that something I should have done? Because I don't want you to ever feel, yes, I that's what I wanted to do then. But since having you, I realized I'm glad God was in control. Because I am so thankful that did not happen. I am so blessed and honored that I have a daughter, and it's you. And I go back in my mind, Marsha, what the hell were you thinking about? Because like my thing was, I wanted to be honest with my child,
I get it, honestly.
I wanted to be honest with my child, and I couldn't expect you to be honest with me if I couldn't be honest with you. So I had to initiate it first. That's how I felt. And since then, and how I got there too was because, you have told your friends about this. And they were like, what? Your mom's she told you that? And I was like, oh my God.
Hold up, Mom. No, I remember I mentioned this to a pastor I used to have, and she was like, your mother told you that? And I'm like, yeah. Like, it was like water off my back. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she told me. So what? That was my feeling about it. And I was thinking about this recently. I guess it was earlier today. If it wasn't today, it must have been late last night, right? And I chuckled a little bit, right? Because it's like, it's one of those things where either you're like, what? Who would say that to their child? And I was honestly trying to figure out how that impacted me as a young person. And so, yes, you told me that you did not want to have a child and that you went through lengths to try to get an abortion. And I would say, looking back, that as an adult, me talking about this as an adult, right? Not in my child mind. I think that because of the circumstances in which I was being brought up, I think that you wanted to in some way let me know that you weren't fully ready,
Mm-hmm.
But you always said that once you had me, you loved me immediately.
Exactly.
And I remember a letter that you wrote. I wish I still had it. And I feel like I was around anywhere between like 5 and 7 years old. I feel like I was in the library in our house in Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this letter you wrote. And I remember a part of it. And I feel like it was a couple of pages, but I just remember this particular line. And that somebody had to read it to me. Or I think that you even had the opportunity to read it to me again later because we kept it. The part that I remember is that you said, now I'm paraphrasing, okay? So it was it was to the effect of you not wanting anyone to give me the impression that you don't love me, right? And that you wanted to fully express that you love me no matter, how things were playing out.
Right.
That you loved me. And that was not a question. And like the things that were happening weren't happening because you didn't love me.
Yes. That was very important that you knew that. Because I was off the hook. Let's just put it simply as that. I was off the chain. And I really left my parenting abilities and responsibilities to my mother. Thank God for my mother. Oh my God. And she loved you so much. Sometimes I think she was treating you like the little girl she wanted me to be, that I never was. Yeah.
Yeah, she loved me and I loved her dearly, and even, you know, even with the impact that she had on my day-to-day life and even part of who I am today, it never diminished my love for you as my mother. It never, that's not something that can be replaced in that way, especially I knew you, we had a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, um, yeah, so sorry, I kind of had a brain fart there, but we were talking about.
That's what I want to get back to.
Okay. Excuse me.
Your I think you no, I don't think you completely expressed in your grown up mind what you thought of me telling you that I wanted to get abortion. But what I want to know right now is in your child mind, right? Because I'm not absolutely sure when I told you that, but you just reminded me it was a young age.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel? Or can you remember how you felt, me, your mother, telling you that?
So the thing is that I don't know if I can really do that because I don't remember feeling like hurt.
Great.
It just seemed like information that you take in. What I think though, when I was thinking about this recently, because I struggled, I feel like a lot of my life has been about claiming my worth as an individual, my self-worth. I've seen this played out in different things, in different ways, in different choices over the years. And one day, it kind of just dawned on me. So I think that maybe at some point, all of the different things kind of made me. I do remember, like, at a point where I was depressed in, like, middle school after my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the purpose of me being here? You know what I mean? So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, I know that she didn't really want me. She didn't want a child per se. Let me not say me, because that wasn't what it was. It wasn't me. It didn't feel personal, right? It was just something that you didn't want. And at least at that time. And then it was like, I moved around quite a bit. I felt displaced often. I struggled with invisibility for a long time. But these weren't things that I was really conscious of until I was like an adult, moving into a steady relationship with somebody, like a marriage, not being able to move from house to house to house, to go around and go to this person's house, go to that person's house, and kind of escape from things. This is what I really got to see myself and what all of these years of different things looked like. I wouldn't say that you did the wrong thing per se by telling me that. It's just that maybe if this was my situation and I wanted to have a conversation about that with a child, a young person, just a little bit more depth. And I feel like I wouldn't have asked you to change what you did. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. How I don't have like this spiel for this, right? It's just something that I've been wrapping my mind around very recently. So I believe it had an impact, but you balanced it out when you expressed how much you loved me now that I was here. I can't really fault you for something that you didn't know what to expect with. You didn't know what to expect with the having a child, what that would be like. But I never felt like you didn't want me. Do you know what I mean? Even though you said that, like your actions, what was going on with you was something very personal. And I could understand that, right? Because just different things that were said, even by mama, it didn't make me feel that these things were directed toward me per se. But if you take in the whole of my situation and my circumstances, there were some things that I had to eventually work through. But I can't say that you telling me that would have made, or not telling me that would have made any difference in the issues that I had to work through, because they were still part of my experience. That little bit of information that you shared was just information shared. Do you understand what I mean by that?
I do. I think what I'm hearing you say, I see what I was trying to tell you when I told you that. It's that, no, I didn't want you. I wasn't ready. I didn't. But then once you were here, that changed. But I think you just hold on sometimes to I didn't want you part.
No, that's not what you're hearing me say.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that, and if I said it that way, that was the way it came off, then I said it incorrectly. And if you heard that, it was because I said it incorrectly. What I'm trying to say is that I heard you tell me that you weren't looking to have children. You weren't ready to be a mother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once you found out that you were about to be a mother, you tried to intervene because you weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
But when you couldn't, you had me. And it was only 2 months later. Okay?
Right.
But you also told me...
We had a joke about that.
I know.
And you was like, okay now. That's why you didn't go the whole 9 months. You didn't trust me. You didn't trust me. You said, oh, nah, I'm coming out right now.
This woman is wild.
Uh-huh.
But you did tell me that once you found out that you were having a baby,
yeah,
you changed your lifestyle.
I did.
You made the changes that you needed to, and that's the beauty about life. Choice, decision. Once you become aware of something, it's like, what do you do with that new knowledge? Once you became aware of it, it was a situation you couldn't control anymore. You couldn't change it. You couldn't affect it, rather than only to just have me.
Mm-hmm.
You made the necessary changes to do the best you could from that point on.
No, that's not true. I did the necessary things until I had you.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
I meant for the duration of the pregnancy.
Right, because I wished I could have did it for the duration.
No,
no. I didn't.
As I was saying that, I realized I was misspeaking, but I didn't think you were going to call me out like that, because I was, yes, but I was talking about the pregnancy specifically.
Yes. I don't think we'd be here if I had stopped yeah.
But so no, what I'm trying to say, Ma, is that I understood that was just something you didn't want, but it wasn't personally about me, because once you had me, once you had this child, you loved her. You loved me.
Yes, absolutely. I loved you before you came out.
Yeah, once you found out. You were talking to me and stuff like that, right? So cool.
Yes. And then I guess that's how you start talking right away. I mean, sentences. You never went through that cooling thing. You know how babies cool?
Oh, baby talk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You never did that. You just started in sentences, because I used to talk to you all the time, and wow. I didn't do many things right, but I did a few.
It's all good, Ma. Yeah, so do you get what I'm trying to say about that, though?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah. No, I don't. It's not that I just had it in my mind that you didn't want me. All I'm saying is that
but that's a lot. I don't think. Don't do that. Don't tell you if I don't advise that. I don't advise nobody to do that. I don't.
But what I'm saying, Ma, in the grand scheme of things, like you saying it, not saying it, what I was experiencing was what I was experiencing.
Right, but then that's some added stuff. I would. But if I had to do all over again, I maybe would have told you.
But later?
Yes, much later when
I was developed more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when you were a real adult. Yes, because. But see, I think I must have knew. I could tell you, because you were a little old soul child.
Yeah.
I was like, where did she come from? And I still say that. I'm like, gosh, we did this, Steve. We did this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time when I was walking down the street and it was in my grandparents' street and I never seen this person before, but they was like, "Oh my gosh, you're Marsha and Steve's child," and I was like, "Well, dang, yeah, I am."
And I never thought you looked like me. And I don't know if that guy at the gas station was just, I don't know what he was doing. Because I don't see, when I look at you, I don't see me. I see your father's family.
I told you all the time, even Mama saw a picture of you growing when you were a little younger. And she's like, "When did Keisha take that picture?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, you were cute. Cuter than me growing up.
Nah.
I appreciate that you made time to listen in to this episode of Unshaved. Thank you. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for topics to explore, please email unshaved.podcast@gmail.com and be sure to indicate if you'd want to be mentioned if your feedback or questions are addressed here on Unshaved. Also, you can show the show some love by following, sharing, and or donating. Last but not least, remember you can turn on your notifications so you'll know when we're back with new episodes. Till then, let's continue to live with love and light.